that's where we were. So let's get on with it. Welcome back. Okay, part of what I like the most in fabrication is the constant little challenges that you face, little things you have to get over, things that aren't as you planned or that you didn't know would occur. So presenting themselves to you and you overcome them as you go, which is great fun. And the best part, like I said, for me about fabrication, because you really have to think on your feet. It's all about adapt, improvise and overcome, you know what that means. So with this one, that's 4 hours, believe it or not. Don't seem like it, I've probably edited that down to a fraction of that, but that was 4 hours, because what I had to do, where the mudguard itself has been cut and chopped and cut and radiused in, the actual arc around there is not absolutely perfect. And when I drew around it and then drew around this, I did use that as a template, but it just didn't come out the same, because when I drew around it, the pen was resting on the inside, and now I'm putting these on here. They have to be level with the outside, so that profile is different. So I've had to adjust and just finesse that profile so it matches every little bump and lump around there, so that when I weld that, I'm going to seam weld that all the way along, which is going to be challenging because this is thick and that's thin, so it's another little bit of fun. As I do that, I want it to be flush, so it comes over and goes straight down into the guard. I don't want to step underneath. So because of that, that's had to be absolutely checked to the exact profile of the mudguard in exactly the right place. Then drilling the holes. The holes as well, presenting, I didn't even realise this. There's yet another challenge, and that is obviously bolting this straight to the fork leg means it will be too far out. It's going to actually foul on here when it goes up and down. This is going to hit this. So I have to bring that in further away from the mounts so that that then clears up the inside which means spacers have got to be made to go in here to space that in a little bit. Several methods of that. Going to enjoy making those as well, that's a bit more fun. And also that one is a further distance away than that one. I don't know, just the way the designers made this. This was a plastic mudguard originally. That third one on the front edge, I'm just going to cut that off because it's miles away and it just won't work. So there we are, loads of challenges still, and 4 hours so with that one just to get it ready. I can't weld that anywhere, can't weld it on because I want to make the other one. I want to do this to the other one before I go any further to get them both so that they both work before I weld them on. And that's another probably 3 or 4 hours to make the other one. So without filming that and making you watch that I've just done all over again, I'm going to get on with it and I'll come back when I've got the other one made. These things just eat time. Right, there we are. Okay, next thing, tack weld them onto the mudguard, just gently, just tack them on and then line everything up. Measure twice, cut once, blah blah blah, or measure twice, weld once. Takes a long time to get it right, and it's sometimes tedious measuring, but it takes longer to undo it and do it again if you do it wrong. So it's worth doing it right, it's worth the time investment. It just takes for ages. Right, there we are, all the holes line up, all 4 holes line up with the mounts. I put 8mm holes in the brackets and there's 6mm bolts, so there's a little bit of movement there. Not a lot, but enough to line them up, which is what it needs. It's absolutely square. The back is square with the front, so it's not twisted. Now all I've got to do is weld it up without twisting it or distorting it. So it will just be a case of either side, trying to get it welded up so it stays straight all the way through. And that's thick. And that's thin, so there's a technique to it. So let's set the welder up and I'll show you what I do, which works for me. Okay, welding thick stuff to thin stuff. I was given this little bit of insight, this little nugget by the welder at work. We have a proper index welder where I work and he's quite a mine of information. Now he has a machine that is awesome, it's got fabulous settings, you can set every single bit of, you can set all the power settings how you want, but this, all I've got is a little Clark Hobby Mig, it's nothing much to it. It's got 4 settings, and I find very often what I'm trying to weld, I'm in between the setting I really need, so I'm either blowing holes in it or it's not penetrating enough. So you then have to turn the wire speed down, dwell on it a bit longer so it therefore penetrates. So I've had to learn, as I've gone along in the last 5 years since I bought that thing and started wearing it out, I've had to learn that my technique has to compensate for its misgivings. So I haven't got the money to buy a big fancy welder, and I don't really think you need one. That's absolutely fine, I've never had a problem. I asked about this just the other day, said what do you do for welding thick to thin, because this is 3mm thick and this is only 1mm. And he said, "That's so easy, what you do is go with the setting for the thin metal, simple, because then you won't blow holes in it. But when you're welding on the thick stuff, slow the wire speed down slightly, just a little bit, and dwell on it a bit longer. So as you dwell on the thick stuff longer, it gets time to penetrate through, rather than actually just going on it like you normally would." And that absolutely makes sense to me. So if you're welding thick stuff to thin stuff, all you do is you use time, the time that you dwell over the thick stuff, and then come back to the thin stuff. It does mean you end up tacking it, making a bit of a mess. It's not the right way, it's not how he would do it. He'd probably use a TIG welder for it, or he would use his 35 years of experience to make a beautiful job no matter what. He could probably weld that with a stick and then display the weld because it's lovely, but there you are, that's why he's a professional welder and I'm not, so there we go. So all I'm going to do is Just weld that along there using that technique, twice as long dwelling on the thick as you do on the thin, and then you shouldn't blow holes in that, but at the same time you should penetrate through that. And also I'm going to jump around the job, different points on it, because I don't want to distort it. If you weld in one place for too long, then you can distort the whole thing out of alignment, and I don't want that. So there we are. So if it helps you, if you're going to do any welding yourself, thick to thin, twice as long, half as long, and that works. It's the time you dwell on it, not the power setting, especially when you've got a MIG welder like that only has switches 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't actually have a nice dial, which would be useful. You don't need that, you can do it that way if you prefer. There we go, hope it helps. Right, there we go. 6 hours, would you believe? That's a lot of work. And most of that time was spent pondering, measuring again, checking, pondering, because the minute you tack it, the minute you weld it, it's there. Otherwise you've got to start hacking it about and doing it again. And that is one time, first time, and it's right. It's straight, all the holes line up. When the holes line up and there's a little bolt through, they go straight into the threads, and the mudguard's still square. So all of the time taken with this, probably some 24 hours so far, 25 hours on this piece so far. Well worth it, because it now is right. Now that's the basic structure, everything's done. There we are, that's the mudguard sorted. I'm going to bore probably some holes in it there and there. I was going to try, I was hoping that welding that along I could grind it flat and then it would disappear, but it's not an issue, it doesn't matter. Where the mudguard's quite rounded coming in and then the bracket was flat, there's a little bit of that going on, so I'm not going to fill that with metal, there's no need for that, a little bit of filler in that. It'll have to get bodyworked anyway, because as I said, I want to put a couple of holes here, different sizes, perhaps one behind, just little holes, perhaps with a little tube through them, like the pick up the belly pan, same sort of vibe going on, so it matches and ties the two pieces in together. You know, kind of just a little bit of a tip towards design and actually thinking about it, and I am very happy with that. So there's a lot more to do yet in that sense, and then finally the spacers welded on there so that it bolts straight into the frame. Then I've got to cut these off. There is still quite a bit to do, but there we are, that's another little step forward. Thank you for watching, take it easy, ride safe. See you next time.